Welcome to Give a Helping Hand, brought to you by Sunlink Communications, Kanawha County Schools Television, and the United Way of Central West Virginia. I'm Margaret O'Neill with the United Way. If you're used to tuning in to this show, you may notice that I am not John Ballingy. This is my first official day to host the television show. And we do want to just remind everybody that John retired from the United Way, and once again, thank him for his service and the work with the United Way into our community. And we just hope we can follow in his footsteps. So we're excited to be here today, and joining me on the set are two great, wonderful people. I appreciate being here. Barb Mallory with the United Way of Central West Virginia, our information and referral specialist. Welcome.
Thank you.
And my friend that I just met today that I'm so excited to know, JP Owens from City National. We welcome you, JP, and thanks for being on the show today. So the challenge that we have is to share with our audience a couple of wonderful and exciting things that you two are a part of. And since I'm new, I'm going to let you help explain it to me and to our viewers. Barb, I know you've been a part of what we call Day of Caring at the United Way for a long time. This has been the most exciting thing to me. I've never seen anything like it, and I've been around nonprofits for a long time. So if you don't mind to share with our audience a little bit about what Day of Caring is, maybe a little bit about how long you've been a participant of that and what we do that day.
Sure. Day of Caring, it is an exciting day. It's a day that nonprofits can reach out to the community, tell them some things they need done but can't get done on their own, and then businesses allow their employees to take the day off and go do those projects. So to show you the scope of it, we have 65 projects at various nonprofits, and we have 828 volunteers, our largest group ever. So we're really excited about that. And this is our 12th annual Day of Caring. So to do it for 12 years and then have a year like this is just amazing. It gives you a boost in the arm to want to already start on next year's planning.
I've never seen an organization pull 820 some people together on one day. So first of all, hats off to all of the staff at the United Way. I know that this has been going on since the day after Day of Caring 2016, and all the planning that has occurred and all the projects coming together and how people apply for those. I know it's too late to be a project this year,
right? But
can you just share a little bit about how people get to be a project and how we kind of match those together before we talk about the volunteers and,
sure.
and JP's part?
It's a really neat process. We put it on our website that the Day of Caring, we're taking applications for projects and volunteers. We typically start them right around the same time. But that's where you can go online, you can register a project. You're going to be, you know how online is now, you go from screen to screen and things like that. And there's a form that you fill out which gives us information. It tells us how many volunteers you'd like to have, what's your minimum number you can deal with, what's the maximum number you can deal with. We hit a lot of maximums this year and went well above. And then it also tells us the scope of the work, so we know what type of folks we might want to match with you later when we get our volunteer list. It tells the location, because sometimes an agency might have a headquarters at one location, but the project site might be another location. So you tell us the site of the project and what supplies you're going to need in order to do that project. Not all nonprofits have the money to do that,
right.
And we're very blessed that a lot of businesses, not a lot, several bring money with them to the table. So we try to match those with money to those that need the money. And so then we start getting the list of volunteers in. And some groups are tiny. We might have 2 employees. Other groups are huge. You know, like UC students, I think there's 30-something this year from one department. That's just one department. So, and then schools are getting involved now, which is lots of fun. We have a school in Putnam County that is sending all 3 of their 5th grade classes over to one of our project sites. So that's neat. Their goal is to teach the kids that they need to serve. They need to care about people and serve. And I think absolutely we need to start at that age. But we also have senior citizens, 87 years old, volunteering. And then we've got all between. So it's just a neat day where everybody gets to go out. Not only do you get to do something, but you get to learn about the nonprofits in the area, which is wonderful. Like a lot of the groups will go back and serve during the year after the Day of Caring. They form a little connection there, and they go back and do other projects. So
I'm just going to take 1 minute to remind our viewers the 5 counties that our United Way of Central West Virginia serve. So those projects are in Kanawha, Putnam, Logan, Clay, and Boone counties.
Yes.
And so they apply from all 5 counties.
Yes.
and then they get matched up with great people. And before we talk specifically about what your role is, we're going to talk to JP a minute about how it feels to be a volunteer. And you've been a part of this for almost as many years as the United Way.
It sounds, 12 years since we've started helping at City.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
yeah, so first of all, I'll say thank you, because companies like City who let their employees allow your staff, your team, to miss a day of work, when we all know how important that is these days, and less is more. We want you to do more with less stuff and less staff. But for these folks, over 800, who are allowing their volunteer or their staff to be volunteers and go out and work that day, you really set an example for what I think are great leaders and what make great corporate citizens. And so maybe a little bit about how that has applied to you guys and your staff.
Sure. Yeah, we typically have a pretty good crowd come out. I don't know that we have 30 that you said, or 3, groups of 5th graders. We usually have a dozen folks that come out from Putnam. And, it's a great community event. We get out, like she had mentioned, meeting the community and the folks in the community, people that we didn't know before, to assist with that. So it's a lot of fun.
I love the fact that we're teaching and sharing with children how important it is to volunteer, what community service is all about, and it's a great win, especially on the projects that we're going to talk about. So just to give a little history to our viewers, the Born Learning is a project that is sponsored by the United Way worldwide. So it's a piece of work that's been developed and put out there to people to use across the country. And a few years ago, Toyota and the Education Alliance and the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation kind of joined hands and brought the curriculum of the Born Learning Academy to elementary schools in West Virginia. And so we've watched them really blossom as they've taught young parents, or maybe parents who have struggled with their own education, maybe not had the opportunities that our children have today to be able to get out and be exposed to different things. Those parents are kind of guided through their elementary school to help not only their kids in school, but their siblings who are still younger at home learn how to teach them a few things, like you and I have talked about your kids. So, you would go to Kroger's and say, what color is a pumpkin? What is a vegetable? And so they kind of share with them learning techniques and teaching techniques that they can use as parents to help their kids and young kids at home. And so the next piece of that is the United Way developed the physical activity that marries the academic piece through the Born Learning Academies, and those are called Born Learning Trails. Right. So Barb, talk a little bit about that, because I know this is your baby, and I could not be more excited that there are going to be 5 Born Learning Trails around the valley.
Well, Lisa helped me find it. Lisa Hudnall, our Director of Community Services, she helped me find this, because I told her a couple of years ago what I was looking for, and this was exactly what I was looking for, but I didn't realize that it already existed. So Lisa found it. When I saw the Born Learning Trail on the United Way Worldwide website, I said, I can't do this in one county. This has got to go in all 5 counties. So we decided to do it for the day of caring, and I'm so excited about it. We're going to do them in Boone County at the park at Racine. Clay County will be the county park at Maysel, and then Kanawha County is Magic Island in Charleston, and Putnam County will be the Hurricane City Park, and Logan County, Chief Logan State Park. So I got such cooperation from all the parks and recreation departments involved, and so we're going to have, and it's really neat, because I think parents forget there's opportunities for children to learn everywhere you turn. And this trail kind of reminds you of that. There's going to be 10 signs, 10 posts with signs on them, and there might be hop like a frog, or find a leaf, or and then there's hopscotch with numbers, there's shapes, there's letters, there's just all kinds of activities that go with each sign. So as you're taking a walk, you stop here and you play. But while you're playing, you're learning. So it's just really cool. So we've paired City National with the one in Hurricane City Park. And what they're going to do is they're going to dig the holes for the posts. And they're going to have fun there. Right? Yeah. They're going to work hard. But then they're also going to draw all kinds of sidewalk art. And that is where the fun comes in. You're going to be putting things on the ground that the little kids are going to be seeing and playing with and loving. So I cannot wait to see all 5 counties done. I just think it's exciting.
So there's your task, JP. You and your team have got to go and color and play and draw all sidewalk art. But knowing at the end of the day that kids and families are going to be able, yours as well, be able to walk through that trail and learn and be exposed and able to develop their children into. So what we want as a United Way is every kid to have the same opportunity, right? We want, no matter what your economic situation is at home or your parents' education level, that our children have the same opportunity to go to school and have the same experience that your kids have, that other kids have.
Sure.
The task is finding strong backs that can go dig a bunch of post holes and put in signs, and that's the beauty. I'm just say this really fast, but what I love that Barb mentioned is there are nonprofits who simply don't have the funds or the volunteer time to be able to do that. The United Way would love to, always put Born Learning Trails where our Born Learning Academies are, but it costs money, and every donor dollar that we have is so important to such specific programming right now. The beauty of Day of Caring is being able to stretch those dollars and make sure that, because of folks like City and our other volunteer groups, that we really can go out and develop these great trails. But tell me, I heard there was an electric post hole digger in your future?
Yeah, the post hole route might be a little bit of a challenge for some folks. So yeah, we have an electronic one that we'll bring. It'll make light work of it. So you might have to find something for us to do in the second half of the day. But yeah, it's going to be great to get this taken care of for the city of Hurricane, and know that we had a part of it, and my folks in my region helped out, and obviously get to participate with it. And that's what it's all about. And we encourage our folks to do things like this. So we look forward to it.
You don't mind getting dirty and.
Absolutely not. We spend all year long behind a desk, and it's definitely more fun to get outside. Just got to remember the sunscreen and the water.
And no poison ivy this year.
No poison
hopefully.
ivy. Yeah, we had quite a few folks last year with that.
That's it. What was your project last year?
We were at the senior center in Hometown, and random things that needed done to their place there. We pressure washed and pulled weeds and planted flowers and stuff like that, just to spruce it up and help their staff, like you talk about. There's sometimes not enough manpower or money to help, so that's where we can come in.
Well, I sat in, so just so folks at home know that this really is a strategy unlike anything I've ever seen before. So once these folks gather the projects, and then they gather these 800 and some volunteers that are literally still calling every day to say, is it too late? Is it too late this year? And it is, if you're listening, but stay tuned for details on 2018. But then the next step is they have these match meetings. And so I was invited to my first match meeting, and you show up, and literally every partner and their project host show up in the room at the United Way, and not only sometimes meet each other for the first time, is what I gathered yesterday, but by the time they left that building, they were best friends and lots of chatter and lots of excitement going on, and talk about preparation. So tell me, I know you're going, or may have already visited where the Born Learning Trail is going to be in Putnam County, but there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that our folks don't realize.
There is, because I have to figure out the logistics of getting all these posts to 5 different counties. I've got to figure out how to get the paint to all these areas, and Lowe's in Cross Lanes has really been very helpful and working with me on that. And then you have to also make sure that the Parks and Rec are involved, because there could be underground wiring. There's just little details you have to make sure you have taken care of. And so I'm going to Putnam County today. I'm going to Logan County tomorrow. I'll be going to Boone County next week. I've already been to Clay County to go over the site. So I want my volunteers to go in there and feel comfortable and know what they're doing. So in order for them to do that, I have to go there and figure it out myself too. But I think JP's going to come with me today and see Putnam County.
Yay!
Yeah.
But that is important. So at the end of that day, this year our Day of Caring, just to remind everybody, is September the 20th, and all those people will gather at a rally at Power Park, and our thanks to them for allowing us to come and tear up the baseball field. I'm glad it's at the end of the season. But how did you feel that volunteer piece at the end of the day last year? I mean, so you worked, and it's been a great process, and you had your people there, and you got dirty, and you got poison ivy, but when you went home, like, what's that feel like?
Well, that's the reason you do it, I think. You get the reward of helping, obviously, and then the reward of knowing that it's going to last for a while and that you've done something that's made a difference. So I think that's the best part of it all, no matter the sunburns or poison ivy, like you say. So.
Well, the best part of it all for us at the United Way are volunteers like you. We want to just thank you for spending some time with us today.
Sure.
We're going to be wrapping up our first half of the show and come back to you in a few minutes. But for me, I want to say thanks again to JP Owens from City National, all of our teams, all of the people who volunteered to Coach Pruitt and to Coach Nealon, who are going to be with us at the rally, again to Tower Park folks who have been so supportive. And I hope they get a chance to watch or listen, but especially to the United Way team. I mean, as I came in new and just watched the process from the sidelines, to know that these folks care from their heart about what they're doing, matching perfect projects with perfect partners to make sure everybody has the enjoyable day, and that they take away from that experience just what you said, JP, that good feeling, and you sleep well tonight. Right. We're going to take a short break. I want to remind you all again that you're watching Give a Helping Hand. It's brought to you today by Suddenly Communications, Kanawha County Schools Television, which are doing a fabulous job, and your friends at United Way of Central West Virginia. Welcome back to Give a Helping Hand, brought to you by Suddenly Communications, Kanawha Valley Schools Television, and the United Way of Central West Virginia. I'm Margaret O'Neill with the United Way, and joining me on the set is Barb Mallory. Hi again.
Hello.
Barb is our information and referral specialist at the United Way of Central West Virginia. We were talking briefly about the Day of Caring we have coming up on September the 20th, but the fact is it's Day of Caring every day for you in your office, isn't it?
It is.
And when people, so I'm new to the United Way here in Central West Virginia. I've heard a little bit and watched a little bit of what you do in the last few weeks or month. But tell me, just so everybody knows, if I'm out there and I'm a single mom, as an example, I'm working super hard. I've got 2 kids. Sometimes I even have 2 jobs. And that one thing happens in my life that causes a challenge. Maybe it's, a flat tire, or my car broke down, or my kid gets sick, or my dog gets sick. And people just need that one thing that's going to help them over that trauma or crisis in their life, and they end up with Barb Mallory. How's that work?
Well, it works a couple ways. Folks in our area know my number, and they'll call me directly. And what we do is try to provide information and referral. We'll take in what it is that they need, and then we'll try to match that need to a resource. And I keep a huge database of resources for the 5 counties that we serve. But that's not the only way folks can reach me. There is a statewide 211 number, which is the statewide information referral. It's kind of like the 911 of social services. You dial 211, you're going to be connected to the call center in Weirton, and based on your zip code, they're either going to provide that information to you, or in the case of my 5 counties, during the day, they'll transfer them to my office. We all believe it's better for a more personable referral, because I might know something that I just found out about that morning, and I get a caller, and I'll be able to provide that information to that caller. I visit a lot of nonprofits. I go to a lot of meetings. I try to stay up on the resources in the area and keep that resource database updated so that I'm giving folks current information.
So that really is one of the hardest things, is keeping your information up to date. And I know that just having been on the answering end of the phone calls, when somebody is really desperate, I mean, when that situation in their life, and you can tell, you can hear it on their end of the phone that they're in tears or they're just really stressed, it is so valuable to have the ability to pick up the phone and without any, I mean, you don't have to have money, you just dial 211. And it really is that 911 or 411 where you get all the information that you need, and you know that the person you're talking about on the other end really cares about you. And I think that is so telling, not only about the United Way as a whole, but about the United Way of Central West Virginia and Barb Mallory and your group, because they absolutely know that you care when they get to you on the other end. Do you have any idea how many phone calls or referrals that you make in a period of time?
My office does over 3,000 a year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, our high point, I can track our calls numbers and things like that. And I think the highest call volume we've had for one day was 65 calls in one day. Gosh. And there's just me, and then I have an AmeriCorps member, and that changes yearly depending on how long they stay as an AmeriCorps member. So the call, it can get intense at times. We get a lot of calls. During disasters, we get flooded because I work with the EOC, with Kanawha County Emergency Management, and the other county emergency management's trying to keep resources updated on a daily basis. That's one where we use a sheet of paper because it changes too fast. And so we do try to track that very closely when there's things like the water crisis, the derecho, the floods in the Clendon and Elkview area. We worked diligently to be able to provide callers because they didn't know what to do. They didn't know where to get help. And so we worked on that. And any information I had which I was responsible for that information because that was my county's. So
Right.
Any information I had, I shared with 211, the call center. So if folks called after I was gone for the day, 211 still had that information to share with the callers.
So it doesn't matter what time you need help, doesn't matter what day of the week it is, doesn't matter if it's Christmas or
Right.
Easter. You call 211 and assistance is available and referrals can be made to you.
Yes.
And just so folks understand at home, the United Way, again, our United Way of Central West Virginia serves 5 counties, but 211 applies to anywhere in the country. You can
Yes.
call 211 and receive assistance
Right.
related to your zip code. The other thing I don't know that people realize is when they call the United Way or call sometimes and get the United Way through 211, the money that we raise and put back out into the community is often those folks that you're making those referrals to.
Absolutely, yes. A lot of people think that when they call us that I'm going to pay their electric bill. It's not that.
Oh, come on, pay my electric bill.
It doesn't quite work that way. So I always try to educate the folks that United Way supports the community because we fund the agencies. We see the needs, and so we fund those agencies that we refer them to so that they can get the services that they need. And there's not always an answer for every need, but there's a lot of times if you talk to them long enough, you realize there was another need they had that got them to the point where they're at now. So you try to establish a little relationship there on the phone with them and find out really what's going on, and then you're able to provide a deeper need that they didn't even think about.
Right.
So we try to help in any way that we can.
Well, I know that if I needed assistance, nothing would make me feel better than having you on the other end of the phone. So from the United Way perspective, thank you again for what you do and your service to the community. But the next thing, so that you said to me today that your 2 worst weeks collide in life as we approach the middle and end of September. And so that's the Day of Caring, which
Yes.
is a big part of your role, and we thank you so much again for that. But in addition, we're just starting up what we call the Christmas Bureau.
Yes.
And so explain a little bit, because it's the perfect time right now. People,
Yes.
we're just getting ready to apply. So explain to people how that works and what that is, especially me. It's new to me as well.
Okay, it's a wonderful group of organizations that come together every year, and we take care of Boone County, we take care of Kanawha County, and Putnam County, these organizations. What United Way Christmas Bureau does is we provide the coordination of services. So we all get together. I bring together all of the agencies and churches and different organizations, like there's Secret Santa, that's its own nonprofit organization. We bring those folks together and we all discuss how we're going to handle things this year, what's going to be required. And so, like, what do people need to bring to show us that they're eligible? So we all set those together. United Way does not determine any policy. This group determines the policy. And then we take care of entering the applications as they come in into a central database. And so you cannot go to Putnam County and sign up at one agency, come back to Kanawha County, sign at another agency using a different address because of the information we've gathered. You're going to be flagged immediately. We're going to catch you. And what I do is contact the organizations involved. They make phone calls to the folks, and they decide how to handle it. I don't do that either. But it prevents duplication. This whole group wants to serve as many children and families as possible. It's not just toys, it could be food as well. So we end up serving a lot of senior citizens, and we want to make sure nobody falls through the cracks. So we don't want one organization to hit their max and then at the same time be serving duplicate families. We want every family to have an opportunity to sign up somewhere to get help.
I love that part. I love the work that's done out of that group to try to prevent duplication of services. So as somebody who's out there a lot, explaining the work of the United Way and the organizations that we partner with, and clearly with my handout, because donations are what allow us to do the work we do and allow the Christmas Bureau to exist. One of the things we hear from people, donors, is, I'm tired of seeing people with 3 turkeys in the back of their car, or, that prevents, if somebody gets 3 things, that prevents somebody else from getting what they need. And so the beauty of that Christmas Bureau, just to relieve the mind.
Like 80 the first year, because I found the gap. And then it blew up because people realized that if they missed Salvation Army, there was a backup plan. And then we have a backup plan for the backup plan. So if everybody's finished, they've all taken their applications, and they're finished, which is usually early November. So folks need to keep that in mind. The deadline.
So can we apply now?
Yes.
Is it time now?
The application is open now. You can call the Christmas Bureau at 304-414-4405, and we can tell you where there is a sign-up location in your area. We do have those strategically placed over the 3 areas, 3
That's
counties.
great. And so they apply, they
Yes.
call that number, they fill out an application, and then somebody gets back in touch with them to say, you've met the criteria and...
If they provide their food stamp SNAP letter that shows everybody's name on it, that proves that those children are in that home or those family members are in that home, they're automatically approved. Or if the child has a medical card and the address matches the applicant's address, then they're approved. That shows they're the custodial parent. So they're told right on the spot. Now, if they mail it to United Way to the Christmas Bureau, then clearly on the application it stated that if you do not hear back from us, you have been approved.
Oh, great.
If you send an application in to me and you forgot to include something, you're going to get it back in the mail. I send it back to you. And so, or if it's where we catch you with duplication of services, someone will be calling you. So if you don't hear from us, you're fine. But
And then they show up somewhere, they're told...
different locations have different pickup sites, and those organizations take care of that. I
Great.
don't have to do that. But even on the Christmas Bureau webpage, there's a nice calendar. So you can go on there and see when the pickup dates are, where they're going to be, what times, things like that.
Well, we're going to be running out of time. If you don't mind, give us the phone number for the Christmas Bureau one more time.
Sure, it's 304-414-4405.
And anytime anybody needs assistance or referrals, they're welcome to call 211 and somebody, but if it's through the day, typically you will answer that
Right.
phone.
Or you can call the 414-4405 and get
still
our
get
office
help.
direct. Yes.
Well, we thank you so much for being with us today. I want to take just a few minutes as we start to wrap up the show to just say a couple of things. We want to remind people that it is campaign time for the United Way of Central West Virginia. So the United Way of Central West Virginia is right in the thick of visiting with different companies and organizations to talk about the opportunity for people to give through payroll deduction or to give through other mechanisms. So if you're watching today and perhaps you don't know how to do that, we want to invite you to call our office, to visit our website, to check in on Facebook, and find out how you can get involved with the United Way of Central West Virginia, how you can give, and how you can join us as we spend every day fighting for the good health and the good education and financial stability of people around Central West Virginia. Our 5 counties, just as a reminder, are Kanawha, Putnam, Logan, Clay, and Boone. If you're in those 5 counties, we invite you to reach out to us, share what your needs might be through 211, through our office directly. You can always visit us at United Way Square and come in and say hello and meet me. I would love that. But the main thing we hope you understand is the transparency of our organization, and more importantly, the commitment that the United Way of Central West Virginia has to the people that we serve and our agency partners. So with an amazing staff, a great board of directors, a wonderful campaign chair this year, and lots to do, we thank you for watching today, and we hope that you'll join us again next month for Give a Helping Hand, brought to you by Suddenlink Communications, Kanawha County Schools Television, and the United Way of Central West Virginia.